Welcome back to the Reno-Tahoe Real Estate Insider. Today we're talking with Sabrina Gentner. Sabrina is fantastic. She lives in Incline Village, but is a real estate agent in all of Northern Nevada and spent 20 years as an educator in the Incline Middle School. And today we're going to talk about the program that was implemented, the STEM program that was implemented across the Incline schools, and how that's a little bit different than what's available elsewhere, and how it's so great for kids. So yeah, Sabrina, thanks again for joining me. If you want to take a little bit of time to introduce yourself.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I didn't teach 20 years at Incline Middle School, but I do have 20 years experience teaching as an English teacher. So I've kind of been all over the place from Sparks, Nevada, all the way to Incline Village. So
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry, that's my mistake. So
No
you
problem.
taught in Sparks too, all the way.
I taught high school in Sparks.
Okay.
Before it was what it is today.
Yeah. Was it more
Anyway.
small town back then?
There wasn't a town out there. It was just one neighborhood. It was tiny. That was many, many, many moons ago.
That's awesome.
But I made my way up the hill and established myself at Incline Middle School. And middle school's my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite grades. Yeah. Just love it. And yeah, I'm a mom. I raised my kid here, my husband and I, and been retired this is my third summer retired. And I went straight into real estate, mostly because it fit with my husband and his work. He's a builder in town, and it kind of jives together. So that's what we did, and that's what we're doing now.
That's great. And he's part owner of Fortress Construction, which their main work is in North Lake Tahoe, correct? All across North Lake Tahoe?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Mostly luxury homes in Lake Tahoe, in Incline, some in California.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. So you got into real estate. You got to retirement as a teacher.
Yeah.
Now in real estate. Things are going well for...
They are. I'm excited about it. I'm excited with the people I work with. I'm excited to have people like you around me. All of these fantastic personalities that kind of work together and collaborate to make things happen for families and partnerships in a new community. And it's just fun.
Okay, great. So yeah, I know STEM, you were involved in implementing the STEM program. What is STEM and if you could tell people that have no idea, maybe these are people moving from out of the area that have kids, right? That they're looking to involve in the local schools, right? They're thinking about Incline specifically. Maybe they're moving from Southern California, the Bay, Texas, where, people move here from all over the place. What is STEM, STEM, and what are the benefits of STEM for kids?
Yeah. So basically STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Sometimes there's an A in there and it becomes STEAM, and that's the art piece. The elementary school is kind of capturing that piece. STEM is a program that focuses on melding all of the different content areas and giving and providing and opening opportunities to kids to learn hands-on the various disciplines at different capacities, from a science perspective, from a technology perspective, from a math perspective, a language arts perspective. All of these things play a role. And instead of siloing them out, they're one. And it's a huge program that started with the high school. Mary Danahay and Sharon Schrage are the powerhouses behind Incline funding, and they're very good at finding grants to help the schools move toward programs that are worthy. And they started with the high school. That was back in 2021, 22, I believe. And then the middle school jumped on and they guided us through the process. They were a huge help aside from funding because they had walked through the process with the high school. Then we were established at the high school. I believe this is their 4th year. So, and then the elementary school was brought on board. So we were the first, and I believe still the only STEM schools, public schools across all grades from kindergarten all the way through high school.
How's it different than what other schools do?
The capacity of ownership over the learning becomes the kids. And it's set into motion by the educators. And it's not just the teachers. It involves everybody. It involves,
So are you saying the kids kind of dictate what's taught?
not that they dictate what's taught, but they discover all of these different angles in a single topic.
It's topic based, but you can look at the topic from a science perspective, from a technology perspective,
Exactly.
from a math perspective. The E is English,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
East Century English. Instead of separating topics based on their, got it. So it's more of a comprehensive
Absolutely.
way to learn.
It's unifying, and it's a ton of work and collaboration on the part of the educators, the classroom teachers, as well as anybody else that's involved. I mean, we've got the principal at the Incline Middle School, Dan Lettier, heads some programs. So it's not just the teachers that are in charge of it. It's the kids, it's the teachers, it's the administrators, it's the secretaries, it's people in the community. So to bring it back to what's happening in the classroom and what that looks like, I can give you a topic. I talked with one of the teachers.
Yeah, give me an example.
Yeah. Jan Harindo spent some time talking
I
with
love
me.
Jan. Her daughter Madison's in.
Yeah, she told
she's on
me.
my. Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jan Harindo, they got together this past fall and talked about a topic. And I believe the question is, can tsunamis happen in Lake Tahoe? So from a science perspective, they're going to study geological features that around the world of how these tsunamis happen. From a mathematics perspective, they're going to piece together formulas that create what is the formula that creates a tsunami big enough to wipe out, homes or mountainsides or what have you. There's also a social studies component where they will discover the historical events of tsunamis globally. And then there's the literature piece, the English language arts piece, where they're going to do some more research and dig deep and look at timelines and find out if there are any tsunamis here in Lake Tahoe, if they've ever happened. And
More of like a journalistic approach in a way.
yeah. And speaking of journalistic approach, they also have a media team. So the media
cool.
team follows the story and presents it not only to the kids in school, in the brick and mortar, but it's stuff that they can send out into the real world, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's great.
they've got all angles. I even think that the drama classes talking, writing scripts and acting out some of these, whatever comes from their research and their exploration. So it's a discovery through many content areas.
Okay. So what it sounds like to me is that instead of siloing topics based on the modalities such as science, math, art, what have you, instead of siloing topics, it's one topic that you then look at from different angles, which that's much more real world than siloing topics, right?
Absolutely.
That allows you to, as a kid, to problem solve in different angles. That's what you do, as an adult when you're in a job or a career, a business, what have you. You have to problem solve using different angles. So that's great that they're doing it that way. Why did Incline decide to move into this type of program?
Well, it's the new age of teaching. It's let's step out of our silos and let's work together and collaborate. It's difficult to collaborate. I mean, when kids are in elementary school, you have one teacher. Basically, you have other teachers like music and what other many programs they have. But the kids typically spend the time most of the day with a single teacher. As soon as they get into middle school, they go to math, they go to science, they go to English language arts.
You have different periods with different teachers.
Yes,
Yeah.
and those bells and they ring and they're very separate.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool about STEM is it doesn't only bring the educators together to work together and collaborate and spend time together thinking of these things. How do tsunamis happen in Lake Tahoe? Because they discovered they do, tsunami effects. But it also brings the kids together. So this program doesn't silo out grades either. It kind of brings all grades together, and they get to speak their discoveries at different levels. And it builds confidence because maybe, you know, a kid is more confident in science than he or she is
Right.
in.
And they can add value to the team
Yeah.
through collaboration instead of just, that makes a lot of sense. And
I'm sorry for interrupting, but Google has brought together and changed the face of how people sit in an office. You know,
tell me about that.
I know very little, but I know that they, instead of separate offices, they bring everybody together in the same room, and they're kind of have their own little space, but they're readily available to talk and everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same concept, but
Collaboration.
Gosh,
especially when
part
you
of the world.
It's part of every, like this is collaboration. It's so important to get people in rooms to come up with new ideas and how to push things forward and how to solve problems. And through collaboration, I do think that's great. Now, I want to talk about the one thing I think everyone's wondering, if you're listening to this right now, is do tsunamis actually happen in Lake Tahoe? Yes, I've heard they do, or they could, if, from what I saw, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. Okay.
I could talk with ChatGPT about it.
But what I saw, so basically on the west shore, you've got Homewood, which at one point apparently was a big slide, which is why it's now, when I say slide, like a big
landslide,
which is why it's relatively flat coming out of the lake and then leading up into the mountains. But then you've got Southwest Shore, which is like Meeks Bay and all that, which is a lot of cliffside. And essentially they said an earthquake could allow those cliffs to detach and slide into the deep part of the lake, which would then create tsunami effects. It would be basically just a giant movement of land, which would then create huge waves.
Exactly. And actually that did happen like 12 to 21,000 years ago.
Okay.
Which I think is why those cliffs are there.
Got it.
When the rocks hit and slid into the water, it did create tsunami-like effects. So there's a different word for what they're called, but because the Pacific Ocean and a lake, the oceans and lakes are different phenomena. So, but there's different wind also can create tsunami-like effects on the lake, and we've seen that. And sometimes it turns into a tragedy.
Yeah,
there are waves that have been recorded at 10 feet high.
I know. There's some giant waves. I was stuck out on a boat one day when it was white capping on the lake, and it was just, it was gnarly. Okay, so STEM. So what are they seeing? What are teachers seeing? What effects are they seeing in the kids with this new type of way of educating?
Well, I think it builds friendships. I know that I've heard teachers, and having experienced it myself as part of getting the program started, because I was part of starting STEM before I retired. It builds relationships across grades between kids and not just groups. So kids are working together at different capacities and different levels. So that's kind of a cool thing. It builds confidence, especially for the younger ones. It's kind of cool to watch, and I've heard teachers say this, the older kids, when they have the position of teaching, they not only retain information more and longer, because they're teaching it, it becomes part of what they understand at such a different level. It's a deeper understanding.
Oh yeah.
When they have to teach it, and that they have those opportunities in this program.
I was just listening to a podcast a couple of days ago that said, if you want to master something, you must teach it.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. So that makes total sense. I think today we're in an age of more siloed living than ever. We've got, we're incentivized, not incentivized, but there's more ways we can stay at home and provide for ourselves, and rather than collaborating with others in the outside world. So I do think, it sounds to me, the implementation of STEM has created basically the antithesis of that, which is fantastic. I'm a huge believer in getting out and connecting with people and learning and talking and finding out that we're not all that different, and we're all going through this life together, and we all struggle with similar things, and we all have similar experiences, just in different ways. But I think there's a we just don't get out enough as a society. We don't collaborate enough nowadays. So it's great to hear that they're doing that in the Incline schools. As a parent to a kid that, let's say you want to move to Incline, what would you tell a parent about this STEM program?
Oh gosh. So being in real estate, I get the opportunity to do that, and I get so excited because that's my passion.
Yeah.
One of my passions, not my only passion, but just talking with parents. And I had one the other day who came through my open house, and they were asking specifically about the schools. And it was just kind of I pat myself on the back for knowing so much about what's going on in the public school systems and staying connected to it, because I do stay connected to it. The new parents coming in don't oftentimes look at the public school system because we have some private schools in our area.
You think the word private gets more of it's just more highly touted?
Well, I think mostly because that's when families come from areas like the Bay Area and even Texas, they are already in tune with private schools. That's what they do, is private schools. So when they come, they look for private schools. But when they realize that our public school system has such a strong program like STEM, because it's duly noted for its strengths across the nation, and it's a growing trend. We certainly aren't the first to do it, but we are the first to have all three levels. So parents are intrigued by that, for sure, because it brings in a whole new element. I mean, there's a whole other component besides the collaboration piece within the brick and mortar. There's a collaboration.
When you say within the brick and mortar, within the school.
Within the school, yeah. It's stepping out of the brick and mortar, stepping out of the school, and putting the kids into the community. So
So the kids get to go out in the community and learn. What's an example of that?
So that's called the exploratory program, and they visit different venues in the community. Pet Network is a big one. They have since we started this. I say we started it like I'm still part of it.
Well, yeah, you helped implement it.
They go visit the Pet Network. Well, what's Pet Network about? It's not just a place where dogs and cats are held until they're adopted. There's so much more going on at Pet Network. So the kids...
Pet Network is, for people that don't know, Pet Network is, we adopted 2 cats from Pet Network, but they've also got a veterinary clinic in there. I actually don't know all the ins and outs of Pet Network, but it's basically from what I understand, a shelter for animals in which they try to find them good homes. Yes. Here in Incline Village. It was started, by Dave and Cheryl Duffield, or funded by Dave and Cheryl, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they go to Pet Network. Yeah,
so there'll be a group of them, and they're 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And they show up at Pet Network, and I was part of this when it first started, and I know it's grown since then because the layers that Pet Network is huge. Mm-hmm. They show the kids how they retrieve these animals, and Pet Network is a no-kill shelter, so they retrieve them from shelters that do kill. So these are animals that come from shelters mostly that are, facing the death penalty for no reason. They also come off the streets, and they get the animals in, and there's different layers of enrolling, I guess, all of those animals into the facility. Then there's the facility itself, and how do they maintain the facility, and then there's the cool part is the program that the dogs are on. There's walking, there's playtime, and so the kids get to feel that daily lifestyle of a dog in a shelter, that it's not sitting in a cage all day waiting for somebody to come love him or her. And it's really, they have a program where they keep them very active. In fact, they solicit the kids to volunteer there as well, because they have volunteer dog walkers. And these are things that kids can work towards, especially when they're in high school and they have they're working towards volunteer hours. That's right next door to the high school. They can go out and walk the dog. There's the medical facility and all of the layers of medical and medicine that goes on behind the scenes.
So they get to learn the ins and outs of how a veterinary clinic works. They get to learn the ins and outs of the operations of a shelter. Do they dive into the business side of it at all? Like, hey, here's what, do you know if they get into that? Here's how we account for all these things. Here's how we look at this, like how we make decisions around this. Is there anything like that?
A little bit they do. And that's more of a lecture piece and the kids typically, there's no note taking or anything they're very good, Pet Network, with having the kids do a project based on just what you said. And they don't get too deep into the business side because they want to keep it fun and active. They do talk about, how to approach a dog and to read their mannerisms, especially when you're just walking around at a park or at the beach and here comes a dog.
Right.
Don't just walk up to them. So the business running of it, not so much. They show it to them, but they don't get into the nuts and bolts of it. They did, however, which I thought was really cool when I was part of it, they had the kids do a social media post for this particular cat. They said, here's the cat, and they all got to pet the cat and talk to the cat, and the cat was just so lovable. And then each group worked on, for about 20 minutes, a social media post that they wanted to put up. And all of those projects went out on social media and got hits. And the one with the most hits won the certificate. Won the cat. Yeah, they got to take the cat home. Mom was really happy about that.
It's hilarious.
It was fun. It's fun. So that ties in a lot of different perspectives from media, technology, the science behind maintaining animals in the pet network, and the medicine behind it, and all of the math behind it, from scheduling the animals to opening hours to whatever. I mean, just think of numbers.
And this is just one example.
That's just one example. Yeah, they go. So there's other programs that are more active. Like there's a bike riding one, mountain biking. And I just talked to Scott Vaughn about this, and he was telling me that he's a English teacher at the middle school. Mm-hmm. And he helped promote the idea of the mountain biking piece. And Dan Ledyard is the principal, and he's part of running it. And Mr. Sneerly, Dave Sneerly, those two teamed up to actually take the kids out on the mountain bikes. The mountain bikes were funded through Incline Education Fund with Sharon and Mary, as I mentioned earlier. They got the bikes. They got a van that takes them to different destinations, and then they go ride bikes. And some of these kids have never even been on a bike before. I mean, it's the first time on. They do a lot of the East Shore, out
East
to
Shore
Sand Harbor during the day when nobody's on there in the middle of the week.
Cool. Yeah, it's such a special place.
Yeah, and I have to say, kudos to the Village Ski Loft, Elko over there. Elko James owns that place. I taught his girls.
My one of my best friends, he moved from Texas. I got him to move out here, and his life has completely just flourished ever since. Is now part owner with Elko.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sam Couch is his name.
Okay, I know Sam.
Tall guy.
Yeah, I know him just because I go in.
Great guys.
They fronted all the tubes and the when you take your bike in to get it all serviced and all of that.
Chains and the chain lube and
they sponsored a whole lot of stuff and got the bikes. They tune them up at the end of the season for them. So that's kind of cool. Bringing all of the collaboration behind this is huge. It's not just educators collaborating with students. It's kids collaborating with the community members. Yeah. The services out there.
Kids are getting into the community. Boots on the ground. They're seeing how these things operate. They're talking to people. They're, instead of just theorizing about it inside of a classroom, talking about the real world inside of the classroom, they're going into the real world and seeing it firsthand, which is great.
Yeah.
This is the STEM educational program in Incline Village, Nevada, North Shore, Lake Tahoe. They also, they just built on a new wing to the high school, the culinary center.
Yeah.
Correct. And then I was talking, so I'm good friends with Nick Viscani. He is the founder of Drink Coffee Do Stuff. His wife, Laura, I don't know Laura as well. Nick and I talk every time I see him. We're always talking. But he had just talked about that they invited them in to talk to the kids about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so cool. Having somebody local from from Tahoe to be able to come in and talk about their journey of entrepreneurship and how they started their business and how they've grown it and all those things. And also it coincides with the culinary side. They're a coffee roaster and they have retail coffee shops. I thought that was fantastic. I would have loved to sit in on that and listen.
Right.
But he was telling me about that. And so I thought it was really cool. So Incline also does things like that. I heard the culinary center is state of the art.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know I would like to. I should go in and ask to see it because myself and Natalie Wersbecky, we worked together at Incline Middle School. We actually teamed up to start the culinary program at the middle school because, they have 7 kitchens in that school, full kitchens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we can get a lot of kids in there and work. And then it kind of developed into this exploratory with the community piece. And again, Incline Education Fund brought in chefs. So we had a chef for one quarter. Every quarter, the kids switch programs and go do something different, pep network, culinary, mountain biking. So they have 4 opportunities to do stuff. Mm-hmm. We had a French chef come in and we did all kinds of French foods. And each week, croissants.
Yes.
We had some fun stuff. And the kids were not so excited about the stinky cheese recipes. I loved them, but we created some really cool cultural stuff. So along with the chef being there and working one-on-one and hands-on with all the groups. Typically, they did a little piece before we got started about the culture of the dish. So it was
that's
kind
cool.
of cool.
So they give the history of it and why it's so why it means so much. That is cool. I didn't get that in my.
No, that's that exploratory piece. There's representatives that are called in from all over. I did the same when I do my plastics unit. I used to in English language arts, which is really a science-based unit where kids learn about and discover, and this was their discovery, not mine, the microplastics in
the Lake
Tahoe. They delved deep, and we decided, and this is where the kid piece comes in, where it's kind of student-driven, they decided they want to do a campaign across the community and bring awareness to the potential of microplastics growing in our lake, which is our drinking water. So their campaign consisted of developing, at the end of all the research and visitors coming, we had Clean Up the Lake organization come in. Those guys go out and do the scuba diving. They brought some of their trash in. The kids get to touch it and feel it and look at it. And they had all kinds of photos and they had a cool video. And they got to work with them one-on-one. But their final project really focused on developing these posters that bring awareness to what's going on.
So it's like a marketing campaign.
A marketing campaign.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cleaning up the lake is so important. I don't think people understand that. And I think it's hard. And I think it's hard for people to understand that when you drive up for a weekend from wherever and you come to the Lake Tahoe and you just want to have a good time and you're out at the beach and, there's drinks involved and there's this and that and the other. And then at the end of the day, you're tired, you're sunburnt, maybe drunk, and you have to clean it all up and pack it all out. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. And then that stuff ends up in the lake, which is unfortunate. People don't understand that the lake, if the clarity of the lake wasn't what it is, and if the water quality, because like you said, it's the drinking water for all the towns around the lake, if that goes away, Lake Tahoe is no longer Lake Tahoe. It's just another lake. I grew up in Texas, and all the lakes there, you can't see a couple inches into the water,
well,
right?
It's pretty hot in Texas.
It is hot, and it's very muddy too, there's a lot of muddy runoff. So all the lakes are brown, and which is fine. I mean, that's how the lakes normally are, but you don't want Tahoe turning into that. It's not Tahoe.
It was kind of a cool idea, and I let them run with it, and it turned out really, really cool. Unfortunately, I retired after a couple of years of doing that, and I never got those.
Because you saw the plastic in the lake, you were just so upset. You're like, I can't handle this anymore.
It's just my time to retire.
I'm getting too upset.
The kids. But it was my time. The next step would have been to work with IVGID to get posters out and about in the community. And that still may happen. We'll see what happens. But all of that takes so much time. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, 100%. They should I always thought it'd be funny to be kind of a fake police officer on the beach and just like play a joke on people that don't pick up their trash and like give them fake fines and just kind of embarrass them.
You might get hurt doing that. Do you want to hear the story behind that plastics unit and how it got started?
Yeah, absolutely.
I brought it to my students' attention that I thought they should be poop stewards. And then I specifically refer to dog poop because we have so many people bringing their dogs here and there's just poo.
There's poop everywhere.
There's poop.
You know what always gets me is when you're and sorry to cut you off, when you're on the trail, okay, when you're on the trail and you're hiking and you walk past a bag of poop.
Gross.
And you're like, okay, it makes no sense, right? The dog pooped and they put it in a plastic bag. That will take a very long time to decompose. And then they left it there on the trail. It's like, you know what would have been better had you just like kicked it into the dirt or into the brush. Like, don't put it in the plastic. That takes...
I know. It takes longer. Some of those bags are biodegradable though, but I think it does take longer for it to break down.
Oh yeah.
When it's in the bag anyway. But I think sometimes people just leave them there, but they pick them up on their way out. But it doesn't always happen. No, there's poo bags. So they didn't like that idea. And my principal told me, he was like, well, maybe that's not the most sanitary thing. Yeah. And I'm like, no, we could weigh the poop.
It's a valiant effort. It
didn't happen. So
it's funny.
Which is probably okay. We went with plastics instead.
Yeah. That's great.
One of the biggest things they learned, and I did too in that unit, was that Lake Tahoe doesn't have a water amount problem, like drinking water issue, like some parts of California.
We're not running out of water.
We have a huge amount of water, but the quality. So it was a quantity versus a quality issue, and the kids realized that, and they brought it to my attention. I was like, wow, boom, epiphany. We have a quality issue. We face a quality issue if things continue the way they do. But
yeah,
there's a lot of efforts out there that.
There's so many great organizations. Clean Up the Lake, Keep Tahoe Blue. I know TRPA fights to do their thing to keep the lake clean. So many great organizations. Thank you for talking all about this. Yeah. I think it's great. People need to know that, especially, Incline specifically, that's your background is Incline schools, but the schools around Tahoe are solid. They're good, not just the private schools, but the public schools, which was what we talked about today. Incline Public Schools, specifically implementing the STEM program successfully and it having lasting effects on kids.
4 years running now, yeah.
4 years running. Yeah. So this is a mid-COVID implementation, it sounds like.
Mid-COVID, I guess, yeah. It was, the kids were definitely back in school, and as you were speaking earlier, that came to mind. Following COVID, this program was something that really kind of re-energized learning.
Yeah.
Because
it was all at-home distance learning, right?
Yeah.
For the longest time. Yeah,
that was tough.
Which that's not how kids should learn, but you had to do what you had to do at the time.
Yeah, that was a whole different period, which was not very successful, I don't think, for a whole lot. But it was nice. It was refreshing to get the kids back into school. And then when we started talking about this STEM program, you're right, it was backed up to that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I never thought of it like that before. So it was powerful then. No wonder it was so powerful, and still is.
Yeah,
and growing more and more powerful with each year.
And kudos to the Incline administration for implementing that on the back end of COVID. They could have easily just said, "No, this is complete chaos already. Let's just go back to what we were doing."
Right. Kudos to the high school. They did it first. And so much support from Incline Education Fund, Mary Danahay and Sharon Schrage. I can't say thank you to them enough for, they just support the teachers. Like if somebody gets the idea to go do cross-country skiing, which Kevin Edwards over at the middle school does, he's like, where do I get the skis? You go talk to Mary and Sharon, and they find the grants for you. They're really good at what they do. And they brought in cross-country skis and poles and even mittens and coats, because some kids don't even have that to go do or even entertain having that experience.
And these experiences, a lot of times for kids, they may not realize it at the time, but as they grow older, and I know this is true for me, as I got older, I just realized how special some of those experiences as a kid were. And I didn't realize it at the time. You're a kid, right? You're living day to day and you're thinking about, whatever, right?
It's all about the experiences that for the kids. Another piece of the puzzle is swimming. And Jan Hrindo's a big swimmer. She's a medalist. Yeah, she competes. And she is just gung ho on getting kids in the water.
Swimming at the rec center?
Yeah, and they walk over there.
Okay.
And then
From the middle school.
Yeah, because it's so close. Everything's so close. And they walk over there, and there are kids that have never been in a swimming pool. They've never swam, and they have the first opportunity. And the array of emotions, she said, that they go through, fear to confidence to
Totally.
Fun.
Learning how to swim. Once you learn how to swim, it's life-changing.
It is. And we have our special needs kids it's a really cool experience. The stimulation of the water wrapping around them. They've had some really good progress with kids. And those experiences that these kids are having outside of the classroom are brought into the classroom. And they, like I said earlier, they're more confident and they're more at ease with learning.
Yeah.
I mean, it opens up those, we call them affective filters that shut off or shut down or open up when you're learning. And when they're open, and giving kids experiences like that outside of the classroom can help them learn in the classroom.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Wow, Incline's a special place. Incline is such a special place. It has such special people that are willing to just give.
We're a tight community, really.
It is a very tight community.
Despite the growth, we're still very connected. And I think the longer these programs exist, the more connected we become through the schools.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was driving, so we live up near the mountain golf course.
Right.
And I was driving to the office this morning and it hit me. It's never hit me like this before, but it hit me this morning. I was driving down Village. I drive past my buddy. He's walking with his wife and their dog back from coffee.
Yeah.
So they're waving at me and I'm waving at them and I'm honking at them. The dog's going crazy. And then 10 seconds later, I'm going 15 through the school zone and TK passes me and TK's giving me the shaka and I'm waving at him. And I'm like, man, that is so cool. That is so cool. Like, we're such a tight-knit community. People know each other. They're happy to see you.
I know. It's fun to walk into Rayleigh's. The kids still recognize me. They're getting older. As they move into high school, they start to forget their middle school teachers. But hey, guys, remember me.
They remember you. They just act like they don't.
Okay, maybe. But to go to Rayleigh's, hey, Miss G, what's up? What's up? Hey, how's it? High fives, hugs all around. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I'm actually going to the high school today after this. We have Christian Club over there, and I bring some pizzas and donuts. I don't bring the pizzas. I bring the donuts. I just got involved with this, and it's so neat to reconnect with them. And they high-five me and say hi, and I get hugs. And
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I think a lot of people don't. I mean, Tahoe's obviously a world-class destination and vacation spot, right? But, man, when you live here, it is so special. And the community is so top notch and the people are top notch. No matter the amount of wealth, it doesn't matter. People are shirt off the back type of people. They're willing to do whatever to help. As far as my experiences go,
absolutely.
Very, very few negative experiences that I've ever experienced. And for the most part, the negative experiences have come from people who just haven't lasted long at all.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody listening to this and you're thinking, wow, I would love to move to Nevada, to Incline. I would love to raise my kids outside and in the schools. And the community is so special and it's a great place.
You know what it is?
It's a great place.
That's a good reminder.
It is. It's a world-class place with world-class people. And
no matter what programs you decide to follow or pursue, there's so much here. Mm-hmm. There is so much here.
You can find a community that fits you, whether you're into hiking, biking, volleyball, pickleball,
boating, beaching,
disc golf, regular golf.
Yeah, we have a whole lot. We're pumped full of fun stuff.
You can always find people that love the thing that you love, and from there, it's just the world opens up, and you meet all sorts of people that are Awesome. So, Sabrina, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd
Yes.
like to add before?
No, I just really appreciate you having me here today. Thank you so much, Shay. It's nice to talk with you and share my experiences.
Thank you for coming and
Yeah.
spending the time. And if people want to work with you as a real estate agent, Sabrina is fantastic. Her husband, again, is a builder. So Sabrina's very knowledgeable of the ins and outs of homes and how they're built. And so, yeah, if people want to work with you, if they're looking to buy or sell their home in Northern Nevada, it's not just Tahoe, but it can also be Reno, Carson. I know you work everywhere. Yeah. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, you can connect with me at Sabrina Gentner at insidecasa.com. You can find me on social media, Sabrina Gentner Realtor, on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. I'm still learning how to do TikTok.
I'm not even on
not gonna
TikTok.
lie.
I'm not even on TikTok.
You can find me on our website too at insideincline.com. So
Perfect. And I'll include all that in the description below, so people can see it there. So yeah, thank you so much again.